Okay, abusunya bɛma kwaba sonko so edeba POG Media so. Yɛde mɛkɔ political highway ni so highway ni deɛ ɛnsɛm bebree wɔ so a yɛn nso yɛagye pene sɛ bɛmi abadwafoɔ no ahu deɛ ɛkɔ ɛne deɛ ɛba. Abusua yɛn mbɔnwura yɛn nsɛm mu no ɛyɛ NDC owura team no ɛna ɛkyerɛ sɛ ɔmo akye ɛyɛ top NPP MP a abusua ɛkyerɛ sɛ dollars ɛne cedis a egu ne bag ma ɔde ɛbɔ awura ɛyɛ street ne so no ɛnyɛ asanketewa koraa kyerɛ sɛ dollars no egu briefcase ma ɛkyerɛ sɛ lawyer M.Kpebu aba abɔnten ɛde ɛho nsɛm aba abɛto do a yɛnsɛ mmɔmmerɛ no mɔm yɛnkɔ na yɛnkɔ tie nsɛm a ɛkɔɔ so na ansa na yɛbɛkɔ no wowɔ nsɛm kan bi a afa hyɛ yɛ comment section like na hyɛ ma afoforɔ nso nsa ntumi nka bi aha ɛyɛ POG Media so political trending stories a make waves no yɛn nso yɛagye atom sɛ yɛde bɛbrɛ mu mɛdam ase.
We have to give shout outs to the NDC people. Ezu, Ezu,
and a very beautiful morning to His Excellency Mahama and the First Lady.
And the NPP could not even compose a simple campaign song, a danceable campaign song. And when somebody composes one and we are dancing, they say that one you shouldn't do. If music or song is danceable, you don't want to say. In my hometown, they have a festival song. They say "Anso bia eyaboa." Anso bia. If the music is, the song is nice, and you are hearing, you say you won't dance. Okay. You cannot even compose a simple song. Hold on. I like your anthem.
Thank
so
you.
the anthem when you begin to
thank you very much.
Then I stand at it. Then you take national salute.
Okay.
And then the that one is being sung in church. It's being sung in church.
11 minutes to the top of the hour.
You could not even campaign song.
11 minutes to you made your point.
You couldn't
they say that they will come to you.
Funeral judges. Your campaign songs are funeral judges.
Hold on.
Your campaign song.
Hold on.
Common campaign song. You want to break the
example.
Campaign song.
No. We have to get.
You want to break the age. You could not even do campaign song.
We will get into the issues because they have indicated this week that they will come to the public to seek your views.
To seek your views
as to why.
Exactly. This is the last. This weekend.
These are preliminary comments.
You say you won't dance.
Don't do that. So now I received some messages what Mandamus means, etc. So that one, I want you to explain that. Okay. But I was telling you about this message this week I got. Somebody from the Tema area reported that during the elections and the melee of the events in Tema Central, his bag was snatched containing some very important documents. And 5 days later, he had reported it to the police and so. 5 days later, the bag was found at a rubbish dump somewhere around the Tema port. And the person who found it is a cleaner at the Tema harbor. And guess what? My complimentary card was in the bag that was stolen.
Your card?
Yes. And this cleaner at the Tema port apparently watches Key Point every Saturday.
Knows you.
And so
this video.
Then took the bag, called, and took the belongings in the bag. Well, some money had been taken. Took the belongings, his passport, and other important documents to the Tema Regional Police Command. So this cleaner at the Tema port, thank you very much for this. We've got his number, and there is a present of appreciation for you for what you did. Apparently, there was some $250 in the bag that he found. He didn't take it.
Wow.
And he returned it to the police. So thank you for this, and then also continue to watch Key Point. I appreciate that message that I got this week, and the many, many, many others we'll talk about. Now, Council.
Yes, sir.
What's a Mandamus application? Just a quick one.
Okay,
and then
so
we'll get into.
If I leave out something, you add. So basic that. So when we say application, there's even a precedent, a copy here. So you write like the way we do application for employment, but this one the procedure is different, right? So, but basically you write the whole of your case. Of course, not literally the whole, because the whole will be too much. So you summarize the key points and put it before the court. And there's the key thing. Asking the court to compel or force a public officer to perform that public officer's duty. So there's the emphasis. A Mandamus application, so that's the application. You are requesting, you make a request to the court that the court should read through, and if the court finds merit in what you ask the court to do, the court will make an order to compel, to force a public officer, so in this case the EC, to perform a public duty, not a private one. So you can't get the EC, you can't go to court to compel the EC to come and organize, let's say, SRC elections, okay, for University of Ghana, because that's not a public duty. That's not what the EC set up to do in the Constitution or the CI 127. So it has to be a public duty, not a private duty, right? And also it's for a public officer, not a private person. So let's say husband and wife have a feud or whatever it is. The wife cannot apply to the court for a mandamus against the husband in his private capacity. The husband can even be president of Ghana, but in terms of husband and wife relationship, it's a private matter. So you don't go to court for an order of mandamus. No, whatever you want, you can apply for and get certain orders, but that is not called mandamus. Once you hear mandamus, the first thing as a lawyer you jump at is, or you want to see is, okay, what's the public duty that has been neglected, that the public officer is refusing to perform? Very, very critical. It's not for private matters, but public officer perform a public duty, basically, generally. We've extended it sometimes to bodies that are not strictly speaking fully public, but do a lot of public duties. But let's not go there. At least if you get a public officer performing public duty, it's more than sufficient for our purposes now. So in the context of what was before the court, the NPP went to court, asking for an order from the court to compel the EC to do the recollation. You say it, and then for the areas that the collation had not been done at all, the Nsawam, Addo, and then Ahafo, Ano, North, right? Yes, those ones, they have not been done. So NDC was asking the court to MPP, asking the court to compel the EC to do collation for the Nsawam and Ahafo, Ano, and then recollation for the Tema Central, the Okaikwe Central, the Techiman South, etc. So that is the duty. So the question you'll be asking yourself is, as they go back into court, is recollation a public duty? Is it something that the court, the CI 127 sanctions, if collation has been done and then somebody's been announced a winner? Do you find provisions in the CI 127 that can compel EC to go back and redo it? So do you see that the Supreme Court was given a cue? You see that the Nsawam, Addo one and the Ahafo Ano North, they hadn't finished the collation. So you see that because that one, the order, because they hadn't finished, the Supreme Court made the order stand. But where the EC has finished and declared somebody a winner, whether for good or bad, the question is, can you get mandamus when they say they finished? Shouldn't it be that you are going to challenge the procedure in declaring somebody a winner, which will go under an election petition? Shouldn't that be the matter? Well, we'll leave it for the court.
Well, then we'll see how Tuesday plays out.
It's also issued and directed that a public officer to perform a statutory duty. Now, the statutory duty, so that's why it's called Mandamus. You are mandated in law to perform a certain duty. If you neglect to perform that duty, Martin can come after you. And it's called an application because you are applying to the court. And normally, this application will be contained in what we call a motion paper.
Right.
The motion will be on notice or will be ex parte. Ex parte means you are going alone. If it's on notice, it means you are giving notice to the other party that I am going to court to seek these orders. If you are minded to contest the terms of the affidavit in support of the motion paper, then you can come and object to it. But that one will have to be stated in an affidavit.
I see.
So they are generally called prerogative writs.
Prerogative writs.
So prerogative writs, certiorari, mandamus, co-warranto. Co-warranto is one of the writs where you'll be asked, by which warrant do you act? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Yes. By which warrant do you act? So these are what we call generally prerogative writs.
I see. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Member of Parliament for the Asante-Achim North constituency.
Today you show us the businessman.
No. In this 8th Parliament.
Okay, lawyer, businessman, the farmer.
But I'm sure you have
citizen vigilante.
The businessman who came to Parliament with money in bags. Today is going to reveal the businessman's identity.
He is a private legal practitioner as well. The outgoing MP for
yes, we'll hold you before the committee.
Yes.
Come and
full disclosure.
Then you come before the committee.
I think it's a fair call. So Ora would deal with that.
Yes.
If it doesn't say. But the Honourable Andy Apiakubi, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, my brother. Sorry for being a little late. I had to
that's
come
okay.
from
It's okay.
Tema to join you this morning. In any case, let me congratulate my good brother Martin for his elevation to the position of chair of.
I'm not chair.
Not chair.
He's a member.
I'm a member.
An active member.
Active.
Who will not be active?
Among them.
Yes,
for the avoidance of doubt.
Yes. So let me congratulate him, and I hope that he will do a good job there. And my invitation to this question, I guess.
The quick one.
Invited to contribute to this. Yes.
No, it was just what the Mandamus
it has been
application.
exhaustively discussed.
Yes.
And I like the conclusion drawn by Martin of the public nature of the function to be sought. Mm-hmm. Indeed, personally, I think that the Supreme Court did a good job saying that upon application for joinder, the court ought to have allowed them to come.
The court ought to have allowed at least the NDC to have a hearing.
I was in the case in the Supreme Court against Attorney General. There was an interested party who applied to join. I was initially opposed to the application, but upon reflection...
I was in court with you that
Yes, upon reflection, I thought that...
You withdrew your...
It was the first time that I was seeing a case where the law specifically says that Attorney General will be the defendant in a matter like that. But the Supreme Court thought it necessary to allow the joinder application to stay. And the Supreme Court actually granted it. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was not too happy with it. But upon reflection, I realized that they went behind the law to find the interest and also bring the interest in it. And you do it this way, and you retire all criticisms after the results are announced. So I commend the Supreme Court for the direction given now, and also for all of us as practicing lawyers to appreciate that if you want to do something that somebody's interest comes into conflict thereof, you ought to consider that interest and bring that person to court, even as a party, so that that person can be heard. And this law on audio utterance pattern is very universal, and you try to avoid it, or you try to navigate around it, they will bring you back into it and say, please respond to that. God, in His wisdom, even when Adam and Eve were alleged to have eaten some fruit, knowing that they had ate those fruits, God still gave them opportunity to respond to the allegation of them eating. And this is the beginning of that law on the Authoritarian Party.
So even God respects the law of natural justice.
The law of natural justice as Adam and Eve. But unfortunately, when he got to the serpent, God did not ask him why. He also confused them and just started pronouncing judgment. So in that, the law of the Authoritarian Party was not applied to the serpent.
In the case of the serpent.
And that is the point, the beginning of appeal. So the serpent ought to have appealed against that decision based on the failure of the Authoritarian Party. Yeah. And I believe that if the Supreme Court has sat on that, the Supreme Court that
the serpent should have been, God should have heard the serpent side of the story.
God should have heard the serpent side. But you see, law comes from Ecclesiastes. So the roll out of all these ecclesiastical events give us the foundations of law.
Thank you very much for this very interesting preliminary comment from you on this matter. But because you are, I would say, an interested party, for the lack of better expression, in this case, because you served as legal aid to Ebi Bright, the Tema Central parliamentary candidate for the NDC,
he's not who party, was earlier. Council.
Yes.
Yes. Interested party. So the NDC.
Who was earlier declared as MP elect.
Yes.
And then last Saturday we saw the Electoral Commission do a recollation and then declare.
Okay, abusunya we ne ensema ekọ so ewo political highway ne so. Lawyer M.Kpebu ena ababe drop a hot expose. Top NPP official just omo hu na just audit dollars egu briefcase. Anya dollars kwa any cities a ekura na abusunya enye easy kwa yensa momre no menko na yenkonko etie ensema ekoso ebeda masesa moje pene kokotie sa ensemwe edemai aha POG Media so medamase.